Hello students, hope you all are fine and safe at your home. Before we go to the new topic and before we start a new topic and the last topic of this lesson, ruling the countryside, let's recall the main points of the topic that we have already done in the previous class. Okay? So the first is crop for Europe. I already told you that the company compelled the farmers to grow certain crops like indigo and opium that could yield more profit to the company, and moreover it was in great demand in the Western market. We also seen that the company forced the cultivators or the farmers to grow other crops in many parts of India, certain other crops like tea in Assam, wheat in Punjab, then jute in Bengal and rice in Madras. Okay, so next topic we will see here is the does color have a history? See, if you remember in the previous class I have shown you two figures. In the figure 1 was a kalamkari print created by the weavers of Andhra Pradesh, and in the print 2 it was designed by the William Morris, a famous artist and poet of the 19th century Britain. Now what was the common in both? The blue color, the usage of blue color. Now where does this blue color come from? Actually this blue color comes from the indigo plant, and this in those days, I told you before also that in those days there was no synthetic color, there was no usage of a synthetic color. The people were solely dependent upon the natural colors. Okay, like green comes from the leaves and pink and other various color come from the various flowers. So same blue or violet comes from the indigo plant, and in those days India was the biggest supplier of indigo in the world. Okay. Then next topic was why the demand for Indian indigo. As you know that indigo grows very well in tropics, and India being a tropical country, here indigo grows very well. Okay. Even the cloth dyers of France, Britain, they also like the Indian indigo. Now Indian indigo was in so great demand, and it was reaching to the Western market at in a very small amount, and that's why the Indian indigo was the price of the Indian indigo was very high. So cloth manufacturers, now they wanted some other alternative, and that alternative was there was another plant called woad, and this woad, it grows only in the temperate region, and this also produces a blue or violet color. Okay, but the cloth dyers mostly they preferred Indian indigo because Indian indigo gives a very rich and attractive color, whereas the woad gives only a pale and dull color, and that's the reason that why the cloth dyers favored or preferred more indigo than the wood. Is that okay? Now by the 18th century, indigo cultivation has become a profit making crop, so it was cultivated in most part of the world. Like I told you, the French started doing indigo cultivation in Saint Domingue in the Caribbean island, the Spanish in Venezuela, English in Jamaica, okay, and the Portuguese in Brazil, and some parts of the Northern America where indigo cultivation started, because indigo cultivation has become a profit making crop. Okay. Now by 18th century, Britain has become here industrialization started, and the textile industry was doing very well, and that time there was a need or there was a great demand of Indian indigo. And meanwhile what happened that the indigo which was coming from West Indies and America, due to some of the reason it collapsed. Okay, and by 1783 to 1789 the total indigo production fell by half. Now the Britain need indigo from some other source. So where it will come from? Obviously Britain turned towards India. Bengal has become the hub of Indian indigo cultivation. By 1810, 95% of the indigo which was imported into the Britain was actually coming from only India. Even the English people, the company officers, they resigned their job and they started investing their money and time on indigo cultivation. Even the Scotsmen, even the foreigners like Scotsmen and English people, they came to India and became planter. And those people who were willing to do indigo cultivation, and due to some reason if they had no money, the company was giving them loan at very low interest. Okay. Now the next topic was that how was indigo cultivated. I already told you there were two main systems of indigo cultivation. One was niche and other was Rayati. Under niche system only 25% of indigo cultivation was done, whereas the rest 75% was done under Rayati system. Now what was niche system? The planter produced indigo in land that he directly controlled. Here the planter, he bought a land, or he used to take the land in lease from the zamindars, and he for operating or for cultivating he used to hire some laborers, and they used to work in the plantation. Okay. And next I told you about the Rayati. Here the planter forced the Rayat to sign a contract, or sometime the planter also forced the village headman to sign a contract on the behalf of Rayats. Now in this Rayat, what he used to do, he used to get the here the planter give loan to the Rayat before the indigo cultivation, and there was one condition as per this contract, that in the total land holding of the Rayat, in which 1/4 means 25%, in the 25% of his total land holding, he has to cultivate only indigo, and for that he was used to get the money in loan in advance at very low interest. In the beginning the Rayats were very happy and they were attracted towards it, but later on they understood that it was that they have been grabbed in the cycle of loan. How? Because after the harvesting of indigo, they don't get much money, they didn't get much money or much profit from the planter or money from the planter. So to repay the previous loan, they have to take a new loan. So this cycle was keep on going. So this is what the Rayati system. And here one more thing, the Rayats also started resenting for they refused to grow indigo in their field, because I already told you for the Indian indigo cultivation or indigo cultivation, here needs a fertile soil, the best soil. In the best soil only the indigo cultivation can be done, because the indigo has a deep root, it extracts all the nutrients of the soil, and moreover it sucks all the nutrients of the soil, thus making the soil infertile. So in the same field, once the indigo cultivation has been done, next you cannot grow any, as a farmer we cannot grow any other crop like rice or wheat, because it already extracted all the nutrients of the soil, thus making it unfit for the other crops to grow. Is that okay? Have you understood now? So my dear students, the next topic is that how was indigo produced? I told you that for the indigo production need 3 or 4 vats. Here what is vat? Vat is nothing, a fermenting or storage vessel is called vat. Now what is to be done? Once the indigo is been harvested, the leaves of the indigo plant has been stripped off and were soaked in the warm water for several hours. Then next procedure what? When the plant fermented, what happens? The bubble appears on the surface of the vat. Now next, after that the rotten leaves were taken out and the liquid drained out into another vat. What is this rotten leaves? जो सड़े हुए पत्तों को हम rotten leaves बोलते हैं. Though it has to be, means they take out the rotten leaves and one is the liquid that is to be drained out in another vat, and that is called a second vat, and it is also called as a beater vat. Now why we call beater vat? I told you that in this place, in the second vat, the solution was continuously to be stirred and beaten with the pedals, and that's why it is called as a beater vat. Then when the liquid gradually turned green and then blue, lime water was added to it. Now what happens in this liquid? Slowly and gradually from green it turns into a blue. At this point of time, they have to add the lime water. Now indigo separated in flakes, a muddy sediment that settled at the bottom of the vat, and a clear liquid it rose to the surface. Now this sediment is nothing, it is a indigo pulp. It is nothing, it is a indigo pulp. Now this liquid, the liquid was drained off, and the sediment, the indigo pulp, it was transferred to the another vat, and the last stage is the third vat. At this stage it is known as setting vat. Here this indigo pulp is being pressed and it is dried for many days and then it is ready for sale. Okay. So we have done whatever we have done in the previous class, we recalled it. Now let's move to the new topic, okay, and the new topic is the Blue Rebellion and after. As I told you that the for the indigo cultivation, indigo has a deep root and it extracts all the nutrients of the soil, making unfit for the other crops to grow in the same field like rice or wheat, and that's the reason that many ryots they refuse to grow indigo in their field, but the planters compelled them to grow indigo. So now rebellion started. So in March 1859, thousands of ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. Now as the rebellion spread, ryots refused to pay rents to the planters and attacked indigo factories armed with swords, spears, bows and arrows. Okay. Now even the women, they also jumped into the Blue Rebellion. You know why we call Blue Rebellion? Because indigo produces a blue color and that's why the rebellion named as a Blue Rebellion. Now here women also they also jumped into this rebellion. Women turned up to fight with pots, pans and kitchen implements. Okay. Those who worked for the planter were socially boycotted and the Gomasa. Socially boycotted means सामाजिक रूप से जो प्लांटर्स के मतलब जो प्लांटर्स का साथ देते थे उन्हें सामाजिक रूप से उनको बहिष्कार कर देना. ठीक है. And the Gomastas are nothing, it is the agents of planters who came to collect rent from the ryots were beaten up. Now ryots swore they would no longer take advances to sow indigo nor be bullied by the planters Lathials. Lathials means the Lathi wielding strongmen maintained by the planters. मतलब जो planters के जो लोग होते हैं मतलब उनके there were some people means कुछ लोगों को उन्होंने एंगेज करके रखा था प्लांटर्स ने जिनका काम था जबरन किसानों से रेंट लेना. ठीक है. तो उनको बोलते हैं हम लथियाल्स. दिस वर मेंटेन्ड बाय द प्लांटर्स. ओके. सो व्हाई डिड द इंडिगो पेजेंट डिसाइड दैट दे वुड नो लॉन्गर रिमेन साइलेंट? व्हाट गेव देम द पावर टू रिबेल? Clearly the indigo system was intensely oppressive. Okay, but those who oppress do not always rise up in rebellion. They do so only at times. मतलब उनको ऐसी क्या ताकत मिल गई कि जो दब के सिसक के रहते थे अंग्रेज़ों के अधीन, suddenly how they rebelled. Okay, so what was the reason behind? In 1859, indigo ryots felt that they had the support of local zamindars and village headmen in the rebellion against the planter. रयट्स को लगा कि उनको विलेज हेडमैन का और ज़मींदार का सपोर्ट मिलेगा इस रिबिलियन में. ठीक है. इस विद्रोह में उनको उनका साथ मिलेगा. किनका? विलेज हेडमैन का और ज़मींदार्स का. इन मैनी विलेजेस हेडमैन हु हैड बीन फोर्स्ड टू साइन इंडिगो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स mobilized the indigo peasants and fought pitch battles with the Lathials. Okay. On other places even the zamindar went around villages urging the ryots to resist the planter. Now planters, these zamindars were unhappy with the increasing power of the planter. Even the zamindars were not happy with the planters because here the zamindars land was being forcibly taken by the planters on lease for longer time. So that doesn't give any profit to the zamindar. That's why the zamindars were also angry with the planters. Okay. So they asked the ryots to fight against the planters. Now the indigo peasants also imagined that the British government would support them in the struggle against the planters. They thought that the British government will also help the ryots in this Blue Rebellion. After the revolt of 1857, the British government was particularly worried about the possibility of another popular rebellion. Now what is this revolt of 1857? After the revolt of 1857, the British government was particularly worried about the possibility of another popular rebellion. Now what is this revolt of 1857? This in coming chapters of history you will learn about the revolt of 1857. This revolt is also called as the first war of independence and it has a special place in our Indian history. Okay. So now the British government was in threat that there should not be outbreak of any other revolt like 1857. Understood? So, when the news spread of a simmering revolt in the Indigo districts, the Lieutenant Governor toured the region in the winter of 1859. Now, the riots saw the tour as a sign of government sympathy for their plight. When in Barasat, the magistrate Ashley Eden issued a notice stating that riots would not be compelled to accept indigo contracts. Word went around that Queen Victoria had declared that indigo need not to be sown. Understood? So, Eden was trying to placate the peasants and control an explosive situation, but his action was read as support for the rebellion, because Eden know very well that if he would not control the situation, it can also turn more worst, like the revolt of 1857. But his action was taken as a support for the rebellion. Understood? So, as the rebellion spread, intellectuals from Calcutta rushed to the indigo districts. They wrote of the mystery of the riots, the tyranny of the planters, and the horrors of the indigo system. Now, worried by the rebellion, the government brought in the military to protect the planters from assault. Now, because the riots, the farmers, they became more aggressive and they start fighting, or they started killing the planters. So, in order to protect the planters, the government, the British government brought the military force as a protection for the planters, and set up the Indigo Commission to inquire into the system of indigo production. Understood? The commission held the planter guilty and criticized them for the coercive method they used with indigo cultivators. Though the indigo cultivation was a profitable crop or profitable crop for the planters, but it was not profitable for the cultivators. Okay. So, it criticized, the commission criticized the planters, and they found the planters guilty. It was declared that indigo production was not profitable for the ryots. The commission asked the ryots to fulfill their existing contracts, but also told them that they could refuse to produce indigo in future. Means here the commission openly declared that those ryots who have already signed the existing contract, they have to fulfill that, but in future they don't need to produce any indigo. The riot has the right to they can refuse the indigo cultivation. Means they can't do, if they are not willing to cultivate indigo in their field, so they have the right to do so. Understood? Now, after the revolt, indigo production collapsed in Bengal. Okay, because I told you before also that Bengal was the hub of indigo cultivation, but after this blue rebellion, the indigo production was collapsed in Bengal, but here the planters now they shifted towards Bihar. With the discovery of synthetic dyes in the late 19th century, their business was severely affected. So, I also told you that in those days there was not a synthetic, there was not a use of, the people were not using a synthetic dyes. But now by the late 19th century, there was a discovery of synthetic dyes. Now, so in that case what happened, there is no need of indigo cultivation or production. So, somewhere it affected the business of the planters, but yet they managed to expand production. Okay. Now, when Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa, a peasant from Bihar persuaded him to visit Champaran and see the plight of the indigo cultivators there. He called Mahatma Gandhi, he asked Mahatma Gandhi to visit Champaran so that he could see the plights, the pains and suffering of the indigo cultivators. Okay. Now, Mahatma Gandhi's visit in 1917 marked the beginning of the Champaran movement against the indigo planters. Okay. Now, just look at your screen. If you see, this is a commission, Indigo Commission, and it is a communication between the Indigo Commission and one of the cultivator. So, let us see. Here the heading is, I would rather beg than sow indigo. मतलब मैं भीख मांग लूँगा लेकिन मैं indigo cultivate नहीं करूँगा. So, here Haji Mullah, he is an indigo cultivator of Chandpur, Tana Hardi, was interviewed by the members of the Indigo Commission on Tuesday 5 June 1860. This is what he said in answer to some of the questions. See what the commission asked the question and how did he reply and what did he say. Now W.S. Sitonkar, the president of Indigo Commission, asked him, Haji Mullah, are you now willing to sow indigo? And if not, on what fresh terms would you be willing to do? Haji Mullah says, I am not willing to sow and I don't know that any fresh terms would satisfy me. Means Haji Mullah openly says that I am not willing to sow indigo anymore in my field. Okay. Then Mr. Sale, he is also the member of the Indigo Commission. He asked him that would you not be willing to sow at a rupee a bundle? Means if you have been given a bundle of rupees, then also you will not sow indigo, even though you will not do indigo cultivation in your field. Haji Mullah says, no, I would not. Rather than sow indigo, I will go to another country, or I would rather beg than sow indigo. What did he say? That instead of sowing indigo, I will go to another country, or I will beg rather than sowing indigo in my field. Understood? My dear students, just have a look on your screen. There is one picture. It is a slave revolt in Saint-Domingue in the Caribbean island in August 1791. In the 18th century, French planters produced indigo and sugar in the French colony of Saint-Domingue in the Caribbean island. The African slaves who worked on the plantation rose in rebellion in 1791, burning the plantation and killing the rich planters. Okay. In 1792, France abolished slavery in the French colonies. These events led to the collapse of the indigo plantation on the Caribbean islands. So, my dear student, the chapter is over, my dear students. So, this is a practice exercise for you. The first one is define the following. Number 1, Mahal. Number 2, Zamindar. Number 3, plantation. Number 4, slave. Number 5, Biga. Number 6, Sata. And number 7, Latiyan. Okay. So, you have to define these terms. Okay. Now, next is match the following. Here in the list 1, year has been given 1765, 1770, 1793, 1822 and 1917. And in the list 2, events have been given. Here you have to match the event with the dates, okay, with the year. That is permanent settlement, Mahatma Gandhi visits Champaran, Holt Mackenzie devises new revenue system, Bengal famine, East India Company gets Diwani. Okay. So, I hope you can do this one. You have to match with the events, you have to match the events with the year. So, one I can do for you, it's 1765, here East India Company gets Diwani. Okay. And in 1770 what happened? It was a Bengal famine, and in 1793 permanent settlement. In 1822, Holt Mackenzie devises new revenue system, and in 1917, Mahatma Gandhi visits Champaran. So, I gave you the answer for this one. Okay. Now, fill in the blanks. Now, here the company had, first one, the company had become Diwan but still saw itself primarily as a dash. Number 2, the British used a variety of methods to expand the dash of crops that they needed. Third, the plant producing a rich blue dye is called dash. Fourth, by the 13th century, Indian indigo was being used by cloth manufacturer in dash, dash and dash to dye cloth. Now, fifth one, European cloth manufacturers had to depend on woad to make dash and dash dyes. Sixth, there were two main systems of indigo cultivation, the dash system and the dash system. That's what we have done just recently, Nij and Rayati system, isn't it? Now, next question is state whether true or false. As first one, as Diwan, the company became the chief financial administrator of the territory under its control. You have to say whether it's true or false. Then second, by the early 19th century, many of the company officials were convinced that the system of revenue was perfect. Third, the British also realized that the countryside could not only yield revenue, it could also grow the crops that Europe required. Okay. Then fourth one, India was the smallest supplier of indigo in 19th century. False. Then in fifth, in India the indigo plants were cut mostly by women. False. It was done mostly by men. Okay. When the liquid, 6.1, when the liquid gradually turned pink and then blue, lime water was added to the indigo vats. It is again false, because here the liquid gradually turns from green to blue. Okay. Now 7th one, the planter usually insisted that indigo be cultivated on the best soils in which the peasant preferred to cultivate rice. True. Now 8th one, during the Indigo Rebellion, many inspiring songs could be heard in Bengal. Yes, true. During the Blue Rebellion, many inspiring songs were sung. It was seen as the sign of unity, and it was a sign of unity and also to inspire each other. These songs, they used to sing a song. Okay. Now the indigo peasants imagined that the British government would support them in their struggle against the planters. Then 10th one is, after the revolt, indigo production collapsed in Bengal. Yes, it's true. Then multiple choice questions for you. See, first one, who was the Governor General of India when the permanent settlement was introduced? Your options are Lord Ripon, Lord Mayo, Cornwallis, Thomas Munro. Then second question, from the year 1819 to 1826, Thomas Munro was the governor of, your options are Madras, Punjab, Bengal, none of these. Okay. Third, Champaran movement was started in the year, your options are 1920, 1917, 1925 or 1922. Now fourth question, the African slaves who worked on the plantation rose in rebellion in, your options are 1791, 1792, 1720, 1794. Now fifth question, in which year France abolished slavery in the French colonies? Your options are 1785, 1790, 1788, 1792. Now sixth question, Saint Domingue is located in, your options are Brazil, Caribbean island, Spain or America. Here the answer is Caribbean islands. Then seventh question, when the permanent settlement was introduced, the Governor General of India was Lord Clive. Your options is Lord Clive, Thomas Munro, Lord Cornwallis or Warren Hastings. Then eighth question, in British India, which one of the following states grow cotton? Here your options are Bihar, Assam, Bengal and Maharashtra. So here the correct option is obviously Maharashtra, because for the growth of cotton you need a black soil and Maharashtra is rich in black soil. So the correct option is Maharashtra. Okay. Now let's go to the short answer type questions. Okay. Very short answer type question. The first question, what were the first two issues the company had to think of after becoming the chief financial administrator of Bengal? Question number 2, before 1865, how did the company purchase goods in India? Question number 3, weavers of which part of India created the Kalamkari print? Here the weavers of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, the answer is weavers of Andhra Pradesh. Now fourth, which dye was used in the Morris print in 19th century Britain? Fifth question, where does the indigo plant primarily grow? Sixth question, why was the price of Indian indigo in European markets very high? Then question number 7, how did the company help those who had no money to produce indigo? Eighth question, what is the last stage of indigo production? Ninth, why did the business of indigo planters get affected in the late 19th century? Because here the answer is because of the discovery of the synthetic dyes. Okay. Then last question is 10th one, why did a peasant from Bihar ask Mahatma Gandhi to visit Champaran? Okay. Now there is a question, picture based question. Here there is one picture based question. Just look on your screen. The question based on the picture, 3 questions are there. Just have a look. Identify the above 2 prints. Second is, on which type of fabrics these prints were printed, and third, what is common between these 2 prints? We have already done this, if you remember. Then comes the source based question. Here a passage has been given. Read the passage given below and answer the question that follow. In March 1859, thousands of ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. As the rebellion spread, ryots refused to pay rents to the planters and attacked indigo factories armed with swords and spears, bows and arrows. Women turned up to fight with pots, pans and kitchen implements. Those who worked for the planters were socially boycotted, and the Gomastas, agents of planters who came to collect rent, were beaten up. Ryots saw they would no longer take advances to sow indigo, nor be bullied by the planters, Latiyas, the lathi wielding strong men maintained by the planters. So, on the basis of this passage, 3 questions are there. Just have a look. In which year ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo? Then second, who were Gomastas? And third, what did the ryots decide to do? So, my dear students, I hope that you have understood this chapter very well. Study at home and take care of yourself. Thank you and Jai Hind.